Hi everybody, my name is Esben. Today I'm going to share with you a technique that I've been using lately. It's a technique that mainly focuses on using the Lasso tool as a painting tool. Um, yeah, as you can see on your screen, there's like these small mood paintings that I've been doing lately. And we're going to be focusing on the one here in the corner, the underwater one, this one. And I'm gonna take you through it to explain just like the basic steps that I did to create this. So yeah, let's get started. So as you can see, I started off I already did a sketch, so I had an idea of where I wanted to go with the painting, so I knew it was going to be an underwater scene. And the plugin that I'm using at the moment, or right now, to find colors, it's something called Cooler. This plugin you can find under Windows, Extensions, and then Cooler. And it's a great way for you to find new color combinations and try out, some colors that you haven't tried out before. And it's a really easy to use plugin. So what I'm planning to do is make some small color thumbnails to try out the different, quickly to try out the different color palettes, and then choose one of them and continue working on that one. As you can see, I wrote a small note to myself that said, have fun. That was because when I was painting this, I was super nervous and a bit anxious about how it would turn out. So it was a note for me just to try to relax and get the best out of it, and try just to have fun with it. So yeah, I think it's something that is important when you do personal stuff. Just remember to to have fun and try to relax and really enjoy it. So yeah, as you can see here, what I'm doing to do the light rays coming through the water, it is something called color dodge. And if you set your brush mode to color dodge, you can get some nice imitation of light. And you can find color dodge mode, you can find that either in the layer modes, or how I use it is next to opacity is there a mode called normal by default. But if you set that one to color dodge and you start painting on your painting, then it starts, it gives some really nice color variation, and it does just a great imitation of light in general. The story behind the pictures is fairly straightforward. It is this sea creature that encounters a human for the first time, and the qualities I wanted with the creature was that it has to be super curious about what this new thing is. The human, the diver, is dead. So maybe it's even it probably it could also be that the diver is drowning. It's so the creature has the ability to actually save the person. But right now, sea creature is curious about finding out what this new thing is. So that's some of the thought behind the story. So right now I'm taking the 3 color thumbnails that I did and I'm putting them next to each other. So this helps me to get an overview of how they function next to each other, and which one it's just trying to get an overview of which one I like the best. I decided to go with the button one. It just felt like it was the most interesting to me. So yeah, that was the one I was going for. I think I start using the technique here in a second. So yeah, so normally what I do is after like the thumbnail, I take one of the colors and make sure it's either a dark or a mid-tone or a light value, and then what I put on top of it is just something that is not the same value, so it will read clearly. So right now I take the lasso tool and I just kind of go quickly over it, like the whole idea behind like how I use the technique is I create shapes that is a bit random. It's still like within the figure, but I don't mind if there's like a big hole or something in it, because it's almost like a Rorschach test. Like you can see new shapes if you're not doing it super, making super clean selections. Then some unexpected can happen. So I try to get the best out of these kind of heavy accidents. And you can, for example, see what I just did with the head. Like if there's something that you don't like, it's super easy just to change it like right away. For example, I'll change his arm here in a second. So yeah, don't be afraid to change stuff if it doesn't work. But it's basically like the technique is basically just using the lasso tool as a painting tool. So like yeah, I mean yeah, you can like there's the new arm. And a good thing is, like when you have your made a selection, what you do is you make one of the edges really hard, so that means it has a hard edge, and you make the other one soft. So normally you start, if you're doing it with a brush, you start hard and then you softly like release the pressure of the brush, and then you can get some really nice, hard and soft edges. So right now you can see I'm just blocking in the shape of the diver. So for example here I'm going to be using the soft and hard, you can see. And with a few strokes you have his whole body and how the light falls on it. And the hotkey for the lasso tool is L, so it's pretty straightforward and easy to remember. And there is this thing in Photoshop which is called like a cheat sheet. It's not in Photoshop, but if you go to Google and you write cheat sheet Photoshop, then what you will find is a picture of all the different hotkeys that Photoshop has. And I remember like first time I found out about this, I took the picture, like the best picture I could find, and I set it as my desktop. So every single morning when I'll like turn on the computer or in the evening, every single time you see a desktop, you'll see the shortcuts, and that helped me start to learn the shortcuts of Photoshop much faster. And it's really a great thing when you're able not to spend so much brain power on all the technical parts, but when you can just be more fluent and be more creative about painting and use your energy on that. So I can definitely I can really strongly recommend to start, if you don't already know them, to start to dive deeper into the hotkeys of Photoshop. I'm going to be the brushes that I'm using is basically just from the different artists that I've found throughout like on the internet, so people who share the brushes, you know, just try to download them and try them out. I'm gonna add a link in the video with you know, the link where I found my brushes, so you can try them out there as well. If you look to the right in my layers, you'll see, you know, like layers with a small arrow next to them, and that's something that is called clipping masks. It basically means, you know, you have to lock transparency um, as well, but this allows you to, it's the same kind of feature. You'll have, you know, a shape that you painted, and whatever you like, whatever brushstrokes you use, like on that layer where, you know, you have locked the transparency, you can only draw within that shape. So a clipping mask functions the same way. If, you know, for example, if I only, like, if I've done, you know, I did the frame of the whole, like where I wanted the picture to be, so you can see everything is clipped to that. So that means that it can only, you know, all that I'll paint on these layers will only be attached to, you know, would only be within the, you know, the painted area on, you know, on the background. So it would be the square. But it's really handy, you know. You can do it for a character, so you do like the silhouette of the character, and then you make a clipping mask, and then you only paint, you know, within, you know, the silhouette. So it can really help you, you know, make something clean and have like sharp edges, and yeah, it's really crisp and sharp. But yeah, from now on in the painting, it's pretty much just, you know, repeating the same steps, you know, making a selection and then paint over it. Keep in mind that that this video is sped up, so I don't usually work this fast, even though I wish I did. But the truth is that I'm more thoughtful about where, you know, I'm spending more time about where to put my next mark. So just, you know, don't have expectations of just like after you see this video to go out and work at the same speed as you know, you see the video in. So yeah, I made a list of useful resources for artists. You can find other video tutorials that are really great. You can find references, and there's like a few quotes and some, yeah, there's some really good stuff in there. But I'm gonna make sure to add that link in the video description, so you can find it there. So let's see, yeah, you can see here I'm using the color dodge again for the light rays. Yeah, so yeah, there is actually there is one thing that I really wanted to share with you guys, and it was, you know, the step from, you know, having drawing as a hobby to start to be more professional and start to you know, make it more into a job. Because I remembered like this step very clearly. It like it's not a long time ago since I was in school, so yeah, it's pretty recent for me. But I remember, you know, the step of where, you know, because when you were younger, when you were a kid, you started drawing by instinct. Like you just you know, you didn't really think twice about it, and you just started drawing because it was fun. So that's what you know. Sorry, that Skype message like kind of took me by surprise. But you know, you kind of start, you know, drawing by instinct when you were a kid. So when I was about 18 or 19, then I made, you know, the choice of like that I wanted to do this as a career. I wanted to start, you know, being able to do this as a job. Um, so you kind of like you start, you know, you force yourself to do studies, um, and you know you spend way more time during the day on painting, um, and trust me, like it's all about, you know, how much time you put in it, because it's just practice, most of it, and you know, failing and learn from your mistakes. But what I found is that if you can protect, you know, some of the initial happiness you got from drawing, you know, from when you were, you know, a teenager or a kid, you know, when you were just drawing for fun, you weren't really thinking about, you know, the right anatomy, or like were the values correct, or anything like that. See if you can keep a bit of the, you know, the initial happiness, of drawing, and like apply them to, you know, have your own space where you can allow yourself to fail and you can have fun with drawing, because it's gonna make you approach art much more easily, and it's gonna become, you know, less of a job. So like if you approach, you know, your studies with a much more like what's it called, a much more fun approach, or like you have a much more positive state of mind, then I think you're like what you're gonna or at least what I experienced was that I spent more time sitting and doing, you know, doing the studies, or trying to learn a new thing, even though it's hard and even though I'm struggling, then I'm still having, you know, trying to have fun with it. Um, so see if you can, you know, have your own little space where you allow yourself to be free and allow yourself to fuck up, because you know you need to make mistakes in order to learn. Um, so I hope that makes sense. And so that's, you know, that's what I've been doing with these small mood paintings. It's just it started out with me being a bit. I was doing a master study. A master study is like from one of the old masters, and I think I spent about 16 hours on it, and I was really frustrated, and I just wanted like a break, so I just opened a new file, and then I just took the Lasso tool, and I didn't really care about anything. I just like Lasso tool and then start to go crazy. So this is how like I started to do these, and I have been way more experimental and tried out, you know, new color combinations, and tried to explore a lot more, and I allow myself to have a lot more fun, and that have made me, you know, produce in a short amount of time a lot of these. So yeah, um, keep and see if you can protect that space for yourself. So I don't have so much time left of the tutorial. It's near the end, um, and yeah, there were a few people who had a few questions for me. Um, I asked if, you know, if people had any specific questions, and I'll try to address them here in the tutorial. So I'll try to go through as many as I can, and hopefully give you guys an answer that you hopefully can get something out of. So here's the first question. What do you do to ensure strong diversity in environments? And I basically just focus on like value structures, like different value structures, light and shapes. So that means, you know, you can have different shape language. So you can have like environments that are basically, you know, round shapes, or you know, sharp shapes in forms of triangles, or you can combine the two. You know, you can have soft and sharp. So you know, you can also have boxes. You know. Anyway, so trying out different value structures. By that I mean there is like, you know, there's something called low key, high key, and mid key. There's also something called full range, low key with an accent, and high key with an accent. But I'm just gonna focus on the low key, mid key, and high key. So basically, it means like you know, depending on the mood that I want to convey with the scene. So if it's like something mystical and or you know, spooky or scary, I'll definitely go for low key. Low key means that the main, like the main value of the picture is dark. It's not. It doesn't mean that it's black. It just means that it's in, you know, in the dark value range. So, and you know, if it's you know, a happy scene, I'll make it, you know, nice and bright. So I'll make it high key. But just remember that these are not rules, or these are, you know, they're not something that is set in stone. You can totally flip it, and you can, you know, try to experiment more with, you know, making a really happy scene in, you know, and then do it like low key. It could be, you know, low key with an accent. Accent means that you have like a light, you know, very like some light values in one spot of the image. So imagine if I were to do like a scene that had to feel like pleasurable, and has to be really happy, not really happy, but has to be intimate, and has to be like, you have to get a nice feeling about it. So I would, if I had to do a low key, I would do like low key with a light accent. So it could be, you know, a bonfire, and where, you know, like, you know, there's just something nice and cozy about the bonfire, and you can have, you know, your story take place there. So that would be like a scene. um, so yeah, that's kind of like the thought that I'm trying to think about whenever I'm doing a scene. I just try to think about like what kind of feeling do I want to get out of the picture. I hope that answered your question. Then there is one here. How much of the time while painting are you initially breaking your comfort zone, and how much of the time are you simply relaxed painting? Well, as I said before, like I have been a student most of my like like so like I haven't had the like um I'm in the early stage of my professional career. Um, so I've been a student most of my time, and I would say that I spent about 80% trying to break my comfort zone. And the reason why I'm saying that I'm like trying to break my comfort zone is that I'm not always doing, you know, even though that I try to do something new and try to break, you know, my habits, it's not always succeeding. But it's more, you know, just being aware of that you're doing, you know, the same thing again. So trying to break free from that and try to surprise yourself. um, so, and you know, like, yeah, these small mood paintings are a great way for me to experiment more, um, and to try to break, you know, out of what I have done previously. um, so yeah, I hope that was I don't yeah, normally when I do relax painting, it's just mostly sketches in my sketchbook. But I hope, yeah, that was a alrighty answer. It was a good question. Um, let's see. Then we have, how do you control the value of your artworks? Um, Actually, I think this is one of the things that I need to get better at, like controlling the values. But basically, what uh, I do is just I make sure that whatever the object is, or the character, I make sure that if I want everything to read, then I'm not gonna be putting two objects next to each other that has the same value. I'm gonna make value changes, so like whatever is next to the to the nearest object, or you can say it has a different value. But it also, it depends very much on when you start to study light more. You'll start to hide. You can hide detail in the shadows, where you work with only a few like values, and you can you can explain a lot only using a few values as well. So I mean, it's hard for me to give advice on how to control value, because I don't think that I'm very good at controlling it myself. And I don't, to be honest, I don't really have, I don't have um, like a great advice for controlling value. And there is the tool in image adjustments and brightness slash contrast. In there, you can you can lighten your lighten the image, or you can lighten the values, or put the contrast down so you don't have as hard contrast. I use that quite often to balance my values, because I always tend to make it too hard. So that's, I mean, that's a nice little tip. So yeah, like, but it's like, I think it comes through a lot of studying. So I hope, yeah, I hope that answers your question as well. See if I can answer the last one before this video ends. So let's see. How do you personally avoid and escape low motivation, lack of ideas, feeling blocked? Would be appreciated. What I do if I'm low on motivation or lack of ideas is, for me at least, like it mostly happens when I'm not getting any new input. So that means I'm sitting home most of the time and doing the same thing day in and day out. So I don't know, like really it starts moving me if I start to go out and do other stuff. If I just just go for a run, like go for a walk, or run around the run around the city. Like just physically moving helps my brain to start moving as well. So and then again, like the thing that I talked about previously, like creating that space for you where you allow yourself to have fun, and you allow yourself to fail, and allow yourself to say it's alright. That really does something like to your mind and when you work, because you're not creating like mentally, like you're not creating any barriers mentally. You're opening up, and you start to see possibilities instead of obstacles. So I mean, also just like if you're like, for example, when I did this diet, like the brainstorm for this picture, like what was supposed to happen, what was the story. I was just like, it was on my way to like, we were going out to get some what's it called, some food in the lunch break at Six More Vodka, and Gerald, a colleague of mine, and I were just like, it was actually like, I was just talking, and you know, like, you don't need to, like, I never like, when brainstorming, I never sit down and say, now I need to do this. It's just, you know, I try to like make it come fluently. So just, you know, talk and have fun with an idea, even though it's ridiculous and something might pop up. So this one was actually like, I remember I was talking about like, oh, there's this a sea creature, and then there's this other sea creature with a bubble, so it can like breathe underwater, and it would burst its bubble, which is probably maybe even a better story than what I actually did. But yeah, that was how it came up. So yeah, I hope that you gained something from this answer as well. All right, so that's the end of the tutorial. Um, I hope that you learned something. It has definitely been a learning experience for me. Um, so yeah, hopefully you gained something from it. Yeah, so I think that's it for now. Bye.